The Fat Controller was holding a railway gala. The engines were enjoying the change of pace, standing in and out as gala engines on rotation several days in turn. After the first week of the gala, the Fat Controller came to the sheds one evening with new arrangements.
As you are all aware, the summer gala has been a great success thus far. From tomorrow until Monday, Edward, Emily and Oliver will be on static display at Tidmouth and Knapford. Douglas and James will be handling mainline demonstration trains, while Duck and Thomas handle demonstrations on the branch line. I have also decided, to boost the popularity, to hold a special rail tour for distinguished guests and rail fans from Barrow on a full round trip to Tidmouth and back in 2 days. Henry, I want you to run the rail tour. No more duties for the rest of you.
Yes, sir, the engines replied.
Good. Now get some rest. There's still a railway to run and I need you all looking your best.
The Fat Controller walked away to his car, leaving a very disgruntled Gordon behind.
Henry of all engines, he grumbled. Surely an engine of my prestige and elegance would be excellent for a train like that. Sorry, Gordon, the Fat Controller's orders, Henry grinned. No need for you to be showing off again. I remember those wedding guests were more than unhappy with your brief appearance, weren't they?
The others chuckled and Gordon blushed with embarrassment.
That wasn't my fault. It was, blockage. Yes, the soot.
But Gordon was a loss for words as the other engines fell asleep. The rail tour day soon arrived, and Henry was polished to perfection. He backed onto his coaches freshly painted and refurbished in the yard, while Gordon was arranging some other coaches for the station. Enthusiasts took a flurry of photos and notes as Henry waited to leave. He lapped all of the attention. Gordon watched on from a siding, fuming. Not too shabby, eh, Gordon? I think I have just as much elegance as some engines, don't you? Gordon said nothing. He puffed away to the station for his passengers. The coaches for the rail tour were planned to head to Barrow the day before, for Henry to pick up when he reached the end of the line. But James was meant to do this, but was busy elsewhere. So it was agreed that Henry would run non-stop to Barrow as a run-by for the enthusiasts at the stations. The arrangements weren't ideal, but the Fat Controller decided to go ahead with the plan. Soon the guard showed his flag, and Henry left the yard for the mainland. Henry had the time of his life. He rattled through stations and past stopped trains, whistling to enthusiasts and engines alike.
This is the life, he chuckled. Imagine if Gordon took the train. Ha! He'd probably get stuck on a branch line again.
Sober up, Henry, his driver muttered. He turned to the fireman. He's certainly willing to make a performance. You knocked something loose with this attitude, I knew it, the fireman sighed. Whoa! You'd better go steadier for the enthusiasts. Soon the train pulled into Barrow. The platform was crowded as Henry ran round the train. They all watched on, taking photographs.
It'll be easy sailing home and back now. What could possibly go wrong? He chortled.
He spoke too soon. Halfway down the main line there was a gradient that ran for a short way just beyond Kildane station. Engines were always warned to be careful to slow for the station. but not slow to a stop on the slope, as the trains were known to get stuck in bad conditions. Henry was making good time as he neared Kildane. He had a fast run to reach Barham, and with a full train quickly began to tire. I'll be fine, Henry thought. It's not long now and I can have a rest for a while at the station. He soon reached the slope. His driver, flustered by the bouncy ride, didn't remember the conditions of the line and slowed the train for the station. The train was now all on a tired Henry, who realised the mistake too late. He tried to speed up to reach the station, but his wheel slipped violently. He braked and tried to begin again, and again, and again. Each time Henry tried to move, he would slip and end up stuck again. His crew dropped sand on the rails and kept trying to move the train, but it was no use. They backed the train to the bottom of the slope and came up to Henry. Sorry, old boy, looks like we're stuck here. I'll run to the station and call for another engine. As he did so, several rail fans climbed down to see what was wrong. They seemed very interested in the matter and were soon bombarding the fireman with questions. One old gentleman, clearly not an enthusiast, wandered up to the crowd and looked at Henry. Dratted steam engine, unreliable as always. That Gordon would have made it to the station with no problem. Why isn't he here? Oh dear, disgraceful. Henry was beside himself with fury, but just seethed as the guard led the passengers back to the train after taking another flurry of photographs. It was a quarter of an hour before another engine came to help Henry to the station. He was very embarrassed. The rail fans, however, seemed happier than the crew expected. It was a fun experience, seeing another railway practice, they joked, and we got some good photos out of it. Henry didn't see the joke and made his way on with the rail tour. He made sure to keep quiet at all the stations, to the surprise of the other engines. However, Boko, who helped him into Kildane, saw the funny side and told the other engines that evening. Henry stayed on the other end of the line and returned next morning. The engine stayed quiet, whispering about the incident. Gordon seemed much more subdued.
So, how was yesterday's rail tour?
Henry didn't reply and looked away.
Don't worry, it happens to the best of us. I think we both know now, Henry, that elegance is fine and all, but you can't get anywhere without stamina, can you?
The engines laughed. Henry disappeared in a cloud of steam.